Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for being with us. Every day, Monday through Friday from 1 to 3 p.m., or whenever you decide you want to watch, we definitely appreciate you hanging out with us. You can find us several different ways. icradio.media. You can find us that way, and also on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, which is in North Alabama. You can also find us worldwide on Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And the podcast is coming up on the 15th of this month. We're so excited about that. TheNewscasters.com. Go ahead and check that out. And by the way, if you have any ideas for shows, and I love doing research for you. I've always been one of those people that hung out in the library. You know that from me being in high school. So
I'm glad somebody did.
Oh, I loved it. I had fun, and I still love it. Behind me is a huge library, and out in the garage is just books everywhere, and then it's all through the house. Books everywhere. I love researching for you. Send an email to donna@donnasedge.com. That's donna@donnasedge.com. I'll be glad to do that for you. I have with me the world's best mayor, and I'm going to tell you why you are the world's best mayor. First of all, now on Roku alone, 80,000 people are watching us.
Okay.
So folks just find out about a good mayor. And if you're thinking about moving into North Alabama, this would be a good spot, because this mayor will take good care of you. Absolutely will. Thank you for all you've done for us at the station. We definitely appreciate it.
Well, thanks for being here and staying here. And I know you've had other opportunities, but we certainly like to have you here. And we've got a lot of people here that'll help take care of people. It's, it takes a lot of us to do what gets done, and appreciate all the help that I have, and appreciate all you do to spotlight and advertise what's going on in Geraldine.
Yeah, but let me tell you why I can be in Geraldine. And a lot of you have asked the question, why should I move into a small town? It's the internet. Without this fast internet, I wouldn't be able to do it.
And I don't call it bragging just to say that Geraldine was actually almost the first place in the state of Alabama to have gigabit speed internet. And I had nothing to do with me. I give credit to start out as Farmers Telephone, now Farmers Telecommunications, and they organized in the early to mid 50s, and just telephones for a long time, and but they have broadened their horizons, and they've really done a lot of research and studying about what needs to be done, and they've changed with the times and done internet, and they've got our county, DeKalb County, covered, and they're reaching out into other counties now and expanding at a reasonable pace to not get overabundant amount of debt or anything. Got some great grants, federal and state grants to do things, and they're just progressing at a good speed to make things where they still work and still can operate, at a profit. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Not a thing wrong with that. Before we dive in, though, a little bit more and talk about all the exciting things that are happening around here, there is something, Veterans Day is coming up. However, there's something special happening at school.
About Veterans Day, yes. And I apologize for not knowing the speaker's name, but she's worked for NASA, and that says enough right there. She was one of the first females to be highly involved in the NASA space program, and this is about 54 years, I think, that they've had a Veterans Day program at the school, and it's always great. Always have a great speaker, and you don't have to live in Geraldine to attend, and they always register all the veterans and have a special place for them to sit, and the school kids get to come, and just a lot of good things going on. And then veterans and their guests are treated to lunch from James Barbecue here in town, and it's just a it's always a great time. Mr. Jay Galloway started this,
Mm-hmm.
50 something years ago, and it's been ongoing, and it always have a real good turnout, and I appreciate the school continuing that. And uh, it's 10 a.m. on Wednesday, November the 8th,
Mm-hmm.
and at the high school gym, and uh, the gym parking lot's where the students normally park, but they'll be parked out on the campus
Mm-hmm.
and somewhere else, and all that will be available for parking. There'll be people out directing traffic and showing you where to go, and valet parking if you need it, and have students, greeting you at the door and making sure you get registered and uh, all that, and then they recognize each one of the veterans by name that are there, and like I say, band plays, and uh, some of the students usually will sing,
Mm-hmm.
do something, and I mean, whole thing lasts a good bit less than an hour, but it's
Mm-hmm.
always packed full of good information, and it's just it's a very humbling experience, and I'd encourage anyone, uh, if you have time to now short notice, but if you have time to get out there and see it, you'll be glad you did.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
We used to grew up in Oxford, and so we used to go to Trinity Baptist Church. They had a Christian school there. It's where my
yeah,
son went to school, Trinity Christian Academy. And Pastor Grinstead, Dr. Grinstead, C.O. Grinstead, we called him Mr. G because
yeah,
people couldn't get
yeah,
his name right sometimes. But anyway, it would always have something special, always at church on Veterans Day. And what we noticed is he would have, okay, the Army stand up, and then they
yeah,
would be a little loud, and then we'd
yeah.
have different branches. But man, when the Marines got up there,
It doesn't take many of them to make a racket.
there may be two or three. It sounded like there were 200 in there. So they're very, very proud, and with reason. We appreciate the veterans.
With reason, and one of my grandsons is in that group of Marines currently serving, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, real proud of him, and uh, you know, miss him being 600 miles
Yeah.
away with our only great grandson, but he's doing what he needs to do and what he uh, chose to do, and I appreciate
It's
doing
very
that.
commendable.
Yeah,
Very, very
and then
commendable.
his younger brother's in the Army.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate him too. He's just been in about a year, and he's he's about 30 miles south of Canada, Fort Drum, New York. I talked to him Saturday because his birthday was Monday, Monday of this week, and he said it snowed all day, November 1st and 2nd
Mm-hmm.
up there, and there'll be a lot more of that
Uh-huh.
for him. But anyway, do appreciate all the veterans, and appreciate the school honoring them, and
And it's truly people who serve.
yeah,
I mean, if
absolutely,
you're looking for people who serve in this world, definitely someone who's in the military. And they always want to serve.
yeah, yeah,
The Toys for Tots Foundation, these guys are retired
yeah,
Marines, and they're still serving.
yeah.
They just want to do things to make the world a better place.
And I'm on a committee building a Patriot Memorial Park in Fort Payne for our county, and you know there's several people that have served in the Marines on that, and
Hmm.
it's going to be done right.
It will be done
Yeah,
exactly right.
been working on it a lot of years, and we're going to have a ribbon cutting and so forth Memorial Day of 2024. Uh, getting real close now. Got all the monuments and things in, and just being engraved and all that, and but it'll be good when we get that done.
Yeah, we have a lot of military who live right here in this town as well.
Yeah, and if you drive through Geraldine last week or this week or next week, we've got 100 and something American flags up on the
Hmm.
poles through town that we put up. You know, and I had somebody ask me last week, why aren't the flags up? And I said, because it's Veterans Day coming up next week, and
I keep them up all year, and then,
yeah,
at Christmas, go
yeah.
ahead and put some lights around them.
I really have thought about doing that, and
Uh-huh.
leave them up all the time, they kind of get where you don't notice them.
Yeah, that's true.
But now we put them up for Memorial Day, which is the last Monday in May, and we usually put them up about a week ahead of time, take them down about a week after, and a couple of years ago, the week after, it'd been raining, and need to wait till they're dry to take them down, and so it got on up to about the middle of June, and I said, well, next week we're going to be putting them up for 4th of July, so we'll just leave them up.
Great idea.
But we may start doing that from Memorial Day through 4th of July week anyway, because that's just about 6 or 7 weeks. But and they get some wind, and we have to replace them fairly regular, some of them, but that's okay. We'll keep doing that. And in fact, we added a few more this year. I've been meaning to count and see how many we put up, but I'm sure it's at least 100.
Now, you guys had a special event at your church over the weekend.
Yeah, we did. We had a singing group called Chosen Generation for a singing,
And we spin their music here at the station.
Yeah.
Too.
And just great guys. I mean, 3 of them are from right here. The other one's from nearby out on Lookout Mountain, and one of them is a teacher and baseball coach at school. And I tell every time I get a chance to talk about them, I said, not only are they good singers, but they live what they sing, and it's a gospel group, and I mean, they really do. And they don't charge anything like most entertainment.
Some do, and it's a lot of money too.
Yeah, but I mean, they never charge. And then a few years ago, they've got some CDs, and they used to sell those. And one day I told them I've worn this one out. I need to get another one, and I got my money out, and he said no. He said, we'll never sell another CD. He said, we had somebody make a good donation, but he said we won't ever sell another CD because we're just
you're doing it for the right reason.
Yeah, and of course we took up an offering for them and kind of thing. But not only were they there, and of course our church choir sang. We did a couple of congregational songs, but we also had some ladies from the Father's House to attend. It's addiction recovery for women here in Geraldine.
I love that group.
And they don't go there because somebody makes them. They've decided they're ready to turn their life around, and of course a lot of them are drug addicted. But maybe alcohol. It could be anything. I mean, like they say, at Celebrate Recovery, we've all got hurts, hang-ups.
I think we all have some.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be food. Like me with me, it's chocolate. I can't stay away from chocolate. You wouldn't want me running your chocolate store.
You wouldn't want to come in my office right now, but I'll tell you about that later. But okay. I've told our police chief several times, I said, I feel sorry for people that are trying to get off drugs. I said, I've tried to quit drinking some kids, and that's my drug of choice, But these ladies, and this is a 12-month program. They started out trying to do 6 months, and just wasn't as successful as they needed it to be. So they did a 12-month program, and they've been here 5 years now. And I always like a chance to share about them. And in the 5 years, they've had 276 ladies come in, and 29% graduated, and which is, I mean, that may not sound like much, but the state average is about 2%. But it's tough. But 29%. But out of those that graduated, 85% of them are still clean. And Katina, that is the administrator of that, keeps up with them and always checks with them, getting ready to have their banquet, and she always gets all the statistics ready, and all those statistics are great. And the one that always just tears at my heart, 130 kids have got their mama back
Oh,
in
that's
5 years.
awesome.
130,
Mm-hmm.
and they're living in a productive home rather than all the
It's a
stuff that
huge
goes on.
impact. Think about what this does for the kids.
Yeah,
And the kids love their parents. I mean, they'd rather be with their parents. But it's
yeah,
a decision the parent has to make, and they're making that
yeah.
decision.
And but most of the ladies came. I mean, they all have jobs, so some of them were working and couldn't come. But I'm telling you, they added a lot to the
Mm-hmm.
worship service that we had because I tell you, they get it, and they really worship
Mm-hmm.
and freely. And one of the guys in Chosen Generation wrote a song a few years ago, and I had requested that he sing it. It's called "He Rescued Me,"
Mm-hmm.
and they all feel rescued,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, some of their stories are just heartbreaking about how they grew up, the house they lived in, and then some of them just from personal choices they made, high school or college or after, and in you know bad marriages and just all kind of things, but but they're all there to make a better life for themselves.
Well,
And
sometimes it's just a matter of ignorance on our part. We don't get it. We don't understand because it's easy for us to condemn and say, well, you shouldn't have done so and
yeah,
so, so and so. But unless you've sat where they've
yeah,
sat, you don't know
yeah,
what decision you would make.
right, and
Sometimes people do things so they can feed their kids.
yeah, absolutely. And some of it has to do with maybe hanging around with the wrong people, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you just get in situations that you're not expecting to be in, and uh, you know peer pressure is real,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, I certainly can't say they shouldn't have made those bad choices because I've made some.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
uh,
Everybody has.
and uh,
If you're
you know
breathing, you've made choices that are the wrong. You zigged when you should
yeah,
have zagged.
but I I just appreciate them and what they add to our community because
Mm-hmm.
they're people that are working hard and trying to make things better, not only for themselves but for
Mm-hmm.
other people
But
too.
they're in a situation where they can help everybody because sometimes you get in a situation, it could be anything, and you're thinking there's no way out. How can I get out of this?
Yeah,
And they are true testimonials of what can happen when you realize there is a way. There is a way of
yeah,
redemption. There's a way
absolutely.
you can turn anything around.
And I'm on the county 911 board, and we had a conference 3 or 4 weeks ago. I went to for 3 days, and there were some stories there shared by some of the speakers about some 911 situations.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know, little kids calling in, because their mom was laying on the floor not breathing, and or
Mm-hmm.
and a
It's
lot of
terrible for little kids to have to go
yeah,
through that.
yeah,
Yes.
a lot of drug and alcohol situations,
Mm-hmm.
where somebody else has had to call, but and the conference was geared more for uh, the people that take the 911
Mm-hmm.
calls, and but
And
I
they're panicking, hoping to. They're thinking of that kid to not. They don't want their kids without their mama and their
yeah,
daddy. And
and you have to make sure that they can tell you where they are.
yeah,
I mean, of course now when a call comes into the 911 center, I mean the location of the phone pops up on the screen.
hmm
Uh,
that
Even
helps.
if it's a cell phone,
You can
hopefully
always
it's a
ping those and find
hopefully
out
it's
where
a
they
home
are.
phone, and
Hmm
they can really narrow it down
hmm
real easy. But it was some good training for them, and it was good information, that I enjoyed learning about. And but you know, some of the stories, here, and they showed a video of it was in another state of some body cams from policemen, and this guy had shot 3 policemen, and then they didn't kill any of them, but uh, then they eventually got him, and they thought that he must have had body armor on because the shots didn't kill him. But I mean, when you're shooting at a police officer, you know, uh, they're going to shoot back,
Mm-hmm.
and they had actually hit him with 21 bullets, and he didn't die.
Oh,
And
that's a miracle.
yeah, but the body cam, and hearing the voices and all that, about what really goes on, and you know 10 seconds is a long time
Mm-hmm.
when somebody's shooting at
Mm-hmm.
somebody, and just a lot of emphasis on you know making sure you got as much information as you can, but
Mm-hmm.
getting it to the people that need to have it in a timely manner. And uh, certainly that's another group that I
Mm-hmm.
really appreciate is all the first responder
Mm-hmm.
people.
Oh, definitely. So when there are children involved, so they're just little kids, and they may not even know their address, like you
Yeah,
mentioned earlier. Should we have something ready for the little kids? Just and maybe you could be with your grandparents. You don't know what the address is because you're
right.
just little. Is there something little kids, or maybe you could hide some information and say, look, if something ever happens,
Yeah,
this is where our information is.
probably need to have something like that. And I know I've seen been to some meetings at school where they encourage even the students to have something with them that has their a contact phone number and their address or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. Even down into the at least the upper elementary school,
Mm-hmm.
and have something in their backpack or somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
uh, in case of emergency to know who to
That
contact.
would be easy to do. Just get one of those. The dogs have them on their collars.
Yeah,
Where they'll have the street address.
yeah,
Something like that, where you could just chain it or something
yeah.
and put it on their backpacks.
And
It'd
of
be
course,
helpful.
the school's got the information in the computer, but
But what if it happens or not at
yeah,
school?
or out on the playground or at the grocery store or wherever.
Hmm.
That's that's good. But we of course we try to do what we can to keep people safe around
Hmm.
here, and we've got great police officers here,
Hmm.
and appreciate what they do. But and I told somebody, and I've said this to you before, that if I didn't live in Geraldine, I'd be trying to move here. But we do have a lot of resources for not only for businesses, uh, and last few years, I mean, I've got 3 or 4 stories of people that just call town hall, and you know I, I've been visiting, went through Geraldine, or saw something on the internet or something, and I want to find out about. I want to live at Geraldine.
Hmm.
People from out of state, and uh, we've got the great internet, and I didn't mention it. It is a cooperative, so I get dividend checks from them every year because I've had a phone with them for years and years and years. And then our utilities, our electricity is cooperative, and so that keeps rates low, and just you know good access. We're we're not right beside an interstate, but you can get to Interstate 59 in
It's just a few
two or
minutes.
three different locations in about
Hmm.
15 or 20 minutes, uh, and a lot of larger towns, real nearby. We're
Right in the middle
hour
of
from
all the majors.
Birmingham, not much more than an hour to Chattanooga, and an hour less to Huntsville, and
Hmm.
a couple hours to Atlanta, and uh, just but we've got the resources, got people that will work, and and you know they don't have to have $15 or $18 an hour to work fast food. I mean, you know, that
Well, the
people,
cost of living is so low
yeah,
here. I mean, I would hate to think about. We bought my grandparents' farm a few years ago, and I would hate to think about what 38 acres. We've got two houses here. a pond, I would hate to think about what that would cost somewhere else.
Yeah. And I didn't mention we got a grant a few years ago to build a sewer wastewater treatment plant here. So, got to have that for businesses, and actually in the process of expanding that to include more of the residential area. We, tried to make sure we got all the business area done first, commercial zoning, and but now there's work being done to expand that to more areas, and but in case you're wondering, well, I wonder how to get in touch with them. I'm going to tell you. There's
if you're driving down the road and you can't write it down, there's my email address. I'll get in touch with him too.
There you go. And it's pretty easy. I mean, our town web address, or actually my email is Mayor Chuck at town. No, it's just Mayor. Sorry, it's just Mayor at townofgeraldineal.com.
You can memorize
AL
that.
for Alabama. And if you're where you can write it down or remember it, phone number is 256-659-2122. And we'll be glad to help you find a place to live or a place to open a business. And I promise you, we'll help you.
We'll put you to work if you want to work.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We got to go into a commercial break.
Okay.
Can you believe half the show's already over?
Just zooms by.
30 minutes just like that. We'll be right back in just a few minutes. Y'all hang in there. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community. Whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need, toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018. Good afternoon. We're back. My name is Donna, and I am your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. We got this guy right here who's going to tell you the truth on everything, and I've got an example of this. Okay, so there was something you were told in confidence. You could not mention it. They would cut your throat or whatever if you said anything. They'd kill you if you told it. Not that serious, but anyway. So someone mentioned this to your wife, Catherine. Catherine didn't know anything about it. And so this person thought Catherine would have known.
Yeah.
And she said, well, did they tell him not to say anything? And he said, yeah. And she said, well, that's why I don't know about it. You really took that to truth.
Yeah. I mean, I understand. I mean, that's the way I was
Loose
taught.
lips sink ships. We've heard that all our lives. If you're told not to, don't.
That's right. But, we do have some great things going on in town, that I'm real happy about, and some of them we work on for a couple of hours. Some of them one of them been working on for about 7 or 8 years. But we've been approved now for a grant to build a new sidewalk from the school to Highway 75.
That's a good idea.
And it's been about 7 or 8 years. And just applied for it a couple of times. You don't always get grants when you apply for them the first time, so we've kept trying and been approved for that, and that's really exciting. We've already had one meeting with the Highway Department about it, and we're pressing on with that. Of course, our great local Liberty Bank here started here in 1971, just a local bank and local administration on that, and since then they've branched out to 6 other locations in 3 or 4 counties.
Good steady growth.
Yeah, and it grew enough that they needed a new building a few years ago, so they built a new building here in town, and then donated their old building to the town. Said, sell it, tear it down, do whatever you want to with it, other than make a financial institution.
Don't
want that's fair. I mean, they're giving it to us. And we, started looking for things, and our local medical clinic was looking for a larger place because they're great. I mean, they're great, and their business was growing. They were in a small place. They are in a small place, but our
they outgrew that just a couple of months, didn't they? Like really fast.
Yeah. But our wonderful U.S. Representative Robert Adderholt has gotten us some money, and we're about to start work on the building to fix it up for the clinic. And I've applied for another grant also through the state. Hadn't heard from them yet, but we're getting ready to start work on that and get ready for the clinic to move in there. We have some town events, and I'm going to back up just a little bit because I might not think of this one again. We just did a lot of upgrades in the park. Redid our tennis court, pickleball court, basketball courts, redid the walking track, patched up a few cracks in it, and got the whole thing resurfaced, and so it looks real good. And we've got our donate a tree project that we started in 2011 after a tornado pretty much wiped out our park. So you can make a small donation of $100 like you did.
Yeah, I did that. My grandparents.
Yeah, and we'll plant a tree and put up a little plaque and have their name on it. And
I need to go find that tree.
yeah,
I've been out there how many times and not even thought about it. I need to find the tree.
yeah, may tie a yellow ribbon around
There
it or
you
something.
go.
So
Then
you can
I'll find it.
and we're getting ready for our second annual Christmas tree trail at the walking track, where people can put up a Christmas tree around the walking track. And we had 30 something last year, and decorated up and looked real good. And we'll end our Christmas parade there. And our Grand Marshal this year is a guy named Jake Peppers that graduated from high school here 3 years ago. Played baseball at Jacksonville State University and has recently signed a contract with the Chicago White Sox.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
The first baseball player from Geraldine to sign a Major League baseball contract, I think. And so we're going he's going to be getting our name out there for a long time, I hope. So we're going to honor him as the Grand Marshal for that on December the 9th. 6 p.m. We've started doing parade at night last couple of years, and been doing it at 2 o'clock, but just adds a lot in doing it at night. We'll have all our Christmas decorations up on poles and that kind of thing to light it up. But I'd actually started to talk about our trunk or treat event that we just had on Halloween, and the school is kind enough to let us use the gymnasium there for that. Used to do it in the park. Had a storm one year and had to move over there, and then didn't take me long to figure out. It's always not going to be raining inside the gym, and so we have it there.
Unless somebody sets off the sprinkler or something.
Yeah. But
then we'll catch up with you when we're in trouble, right?
But the council always helps me, and we cook hot dogs and give out hot dogs and drinks to everybody. But businesses and churches come and set up and give out candy, and so this year we did 640 hot dogs, and our population here is 910. But now our school's got 1,150 kids. I mean, but that's some of them got parents and all that. So anyway, but we did 640 hot dogs and drinks, and we gave them all out. And there were a lot of people that didn't want one, but we ran out right at the end at the right time.
So were you the one did you make the hot dogs? You're cookout king is what I hear. You and Phil are vying for this. I'm the cookout king.
I cooked all 640 hot dogs, and 4 of the ladies from the father's house came out and put them in buns and wrapped them up. And you
needed that assistance.
I did, and it just happened that one of the bad things about that day is our high school volleyball team was playing in the state tournament in Birmingham that day, so I didn't get to go to that. But they did a e-learning day for school, so grandson Ethan got to come and help me all day that day too.
Who's helped me several times. That's a good kid help. Right there.
16-year-old, but he's a good kid, and he was a lot of help. But I'm sure there were 1,000 people came through at Trunk or Treat, and a lot of them, kids and adults, dress up and
So what'd you dress up as?
I just dressed up as the mayor. I didn't have time.
I thought you were going to do Dr. Seuss.
I might think about that for next year, because I love Dr. Seuss. I always go to the, read to the kids at school on that day. But some people always find it amusing or whatever that our local funeral home always comes and they bring a casket and give candy out of the casket.
A little amusing, yeah.
But I mean, we had people as dinosaurs and all kind of things. But it was always a good time for that, and it was a steady flow where didn't have to be in line all that long, and we started at 5 o'clock to give people kind of time to get out. But we do it on Halloween. I mean, a lot of people do it on Saturday or something before, but we do it on Halloween unless that's on Sunday or Wednesday, and then we'll do it the day before. But and I'm thankful that we get to do it before the time change because it's still daylight when we start anyway. But and always get good help. I mean, there's all I have to do is ask, and our maintenance guy Jamie helps. I mean, of course that shouldn't surprise anybody. He does everything. I mean, he does the
How
mowing
does he
and
keep the
working.
streets so clean? I mean, even other people from other towns around here say, your streets are always so clean. How do y'all do it? So how do we do it?
He just works hard, and I mean he mows the right of way on the state highways.
I've heard it's because if he catches you doing it, he throws a spit wad at you.
or something, and
I think it's why we raise the kids around here.
that's a lot of it.
I really do a lot of it because
There's
you
not a
got
lot to
mothers
clean
and
up.
grandmothers who will go whoop you
Yeah.
if they catch you throwing something outside the window.
And it doesn't even have to be your kid or grandkid.
No.
They may
Takes
take
it
care of it,
down.
or they'll call your parents
Yeah.
or something. But it, and he mows the state right away. They mow it twice a year with their big bush hogs, but he likes for it to look good. And I mean,
It's
not something
taking
I
pride in
told
it.
him to do. He just does it, and like he does everything else. But keeps the police cars serviced and up to date. We buy new ones every year.
Would you explain that? Because we had, and it must have been a mayor from another town who sent this message, and I meant to save it for you. If I can find it, I'm going to send it to you. So he wanted to know how you do that. How do you actually, how are you able to buy cars and then sell them? And I mean, basically, it costs nothing.
Well, it is a little unusual that buying new cars every year is a fundraiser, but obviously we buy them on state bid, and we don't have to negotiate the price. The state's already done that. There's one Chevy dealer in the state, one Ford dealer in the state, one Dodge, and if you want one of those, you go there, and here's the price, and it's obviously a good bit below sticker price, and so we buy new ones every year and take the other ones either to auction or to a dealer. And like this past year, we bought 4 new cars. Of course, we have to pay somebody to take the lights out, put them on the new cars, but the bodies of the cars don't change but every 5 or 6 years, so everything will still fit inside and all that for quite a while. But this past year, after we got through with everything, we made $12,000 on, and so
That's pretty awesome there. Some of you mayors need to be calling him. I mean, take advice. That's why I call him the world's best mayor. I mean, not many towns can say that.
and and as a result of that, we've got good cars for the police to drive. There's very, very little maintenance on them.
Well, they've been taken care of throughout the year. You've got a great maintenance guy, so I wouldn't be afraid to buy one of those cars.
Oh, absolutely. And and I've told this story. Of course, I like to keep Jamie, our maintenance guy, with all good stuff, because I don't want him thinking about going somewhere else.
No.
And
What would we do?
So, a few years ago, bought him a new truck, utility bed on it. It's got all the cabinets and all that in it, and now this was in 2020, so it's been a little while, but the truck was a little bit less than $36,000, and he drove it for 2 years just around town, but he takes care of it. But I mean, it was always full of, supplies for the park and tools and ladders and all that. But
Gotta have the right tools.
yeah, but he used it for 2 years, cleaned it up, took it to auction. We paid a little less than $36,000. This was in 2022 when vehicles were hard to get. I mean, it's not something you do all the time, but it brought $60,000 at the auction. And I mean, I didn't believe it when the guy
I
called
want a
me.
mayor like this.
But and so we're about to buy another one. When we've had that one for almost 2 years, and so and those, I mean, they're still kind of a little bit hard to get. In fact, we'd ordered 4 new Tahoes, and they called the other day and said, we're going to be able to get you one, and said we're just, they're just not getting them to us, and so we're trying to figure out what to do about that, But anyway, they do have a couple of trucks and in stock. We usually have to order them 3 or 4 months ahead of time, and so I told Jamie, I said, go up there and look at that truck, and if that's what you want, that's what we'll get. And he said, well, why don't you go look at it? And I said, I'm not going to be driving it and putting
He
stuff
knows
in
what
it.
he needs.
Yeah, I said, it's not
Like
for
you
me.
wouldn't want me to go pick it
I
up.
said, I want it to be like you want it to be, and pick it out. And but I will say, like I say, in 2020 we paid a little less than 36,000. This year, 65,000.
Wow, price of
But
everything's moving.
but anyway, I mean, it's still. I mean, we'll still sell the old one for more than we paid for it. We'll sell this one for more than we paid for it when the time comes, I guess.
That's another reason people should want to live here. We have a garden, and I just had a block garden, and I took the master gardening classes, so I got to know a little bit through Auburn University, the Auburn Extension Service, and you can grow your food here. This land, the dirt. Now you have to know what your soil is. Of course, mine is sandy. It's like quicksand, and so that's why we chose to do. You have to know what's going to grow in your area, but we have lots of plants that are just they're natural habitants to this land.
Right.
I think tomatoes are natural
I mean,
here.
Sand Mountain, where we are, is. I mean, it's just.
Did you notice all the tomatoes I have?
Yeah.
They're still coming in.
I know, and we've got good technical assistance right here by Auburn University has a plant a place 5 miles from here. It's an experiment station, and where they test things. Obviously, experiment station. You'd think they'd test things, research,
and they know what's going to grow here.
Yeah, and they'll help you. And they'll tell you what to do about soil testing and what you need to add to the soil and what you need to do and when you need to plant and how you need to do all that. But but you don't have to do much.
Canning.
Yeah.
They even the proper way to can. You'd think because we live in Geraldine, everybody would know how to can, but I found it's just me and my grandmother right now.
Well, we've had a lot of people move
There's a
here.
few of them. So knowing how to can and how to pressure cook and all those things are important to know, and we got just right down the road.
Yeah, and of course, when I was a kid, a long time ago, the main crop was cotton, and it's coming back some to the area more than it used to be. But soybeans and potatoes, and there was a time when people were growing pepper, just and
Peanuts.
and corn, of course, and but corn and soybeans are the big ones now. But
I learned a lot about soybeans.
Yeah.
You can make candles out of soybean wax.
Yeah.
And it's natural. So if you're like me and you have asthma, I love paraffin candles. But I'm going to tell you, just walking by this big box, when I can't mention their names, they're not advertising with us. But if you go to a mall, and they're big, okay? And those fragrances smell so good. But then just a few minutes, I'm coughing my head off because they're made out of paraffin. But a soy candle, and we grow a lot of soy here, a soy candle is so good for you if you have asthma.
You mean going somewhere like Gadsden Mall? You can talk about them.
I can talk about them. That's where we used to
30
go
minutes
when I was
away,
a kid growing up. Yeah, when I was a kid, we didn't have a mall here, of course.
Yeah.
And we grew up in Oxford where we had a mall. We were kind of used to that. And then so my dad said, well, we're going to go to the Gadsden Mall then. So we went to the Gadsden Mall. And it was just something about seeing the Christmas, and it seems a little more like Christmas. So you need to go check them out. They're growing like crazy over there.
But, obviously with the internet, you can learn a lot about Geraldine too if you get on there. But
land for almost nothing. I'm just telling you. I'm not trying to cause a land crazy here, but I'm just telling you what we've got right here would be way over $1 million in Charlotte, North Carolina. Over.
Funny story though, Katina that has the father's house, we hired her for our town clerk this summer, and I've told people that may be the best thing I've done since I've been mayor, but she's great. But the other day, I'd been to a meeting and was out, and she texted me and she said, the guy just called and wanted to know why there was a garbage fee, why he got a bill for a garbage fee, because we don't have our own garbage collection in Geraldine. It's contracted out through the county, so we get good rates, and so they do all that. But and I thought, what kind of bill did he get?
Because I'm going.
And so she texted me a picture of it, and it said Geraldine garbage, $127 for 6 months or something. And she sent the whole thing, and I texted her back, and I said, tell him he'll have to check with Geraldine, Montana, because that's where this came from. And it was a guy, he lived in Texas, but obviously had some land in Geraldine, Montana, and he got in the bill, and he just looked up Geraldine.
Did he just move to Geraldine?
No, he still lives in Texas. He just looked up Geraldine to get a phone number, and he got Geraldine, Alabama. But he sent her a picture of it, and I said, that's Geraldine, Montana.
That's Montana.
So,
and they are a little higher there, okay?
Yeah. But look for Geraldine, Alabama.
You know, we got a lot of famous people from here. We've got, let's see. Okay, we've got about 7 minutes left in this segment. Pat Upton is one you always think of him. You know, I love you more today than yesterday, but not as much as tomorrow. By the way, the football players that I got to interview a few years ago, that's what they called me. So my name was I love you more today than yesterday, but not as much as tomorrow, because they said, Pat Upton, yeah, that's right, he's from your land, from your area. But now also an upcoming event with a baseball player. Can we talk about that yet? We can't talk about it yet, can we?
Yeah, about the from the Chicago White Sox that signed one of our players. Just graduated 3 years ago. Played at Jacksonville State University and has signed a contract with the Chicago White Sox as a pitcher. He's been out in Arizona for the last several months, and he's home now, and he's going to be Grand Marshal for our Christmas parade December the 9th.
Baseball!
He's the first player from Geraldine to sign a Major League Baseball contract, and
that's exciting.
When he was in Arizona, they had like 20 pitchers that they'd taken out there for the summer, you know, to work, and they sent them all home but 5, and he was one of the 5 that stayed. So apparently he's what they're looking for, and a great kid. I mean, you know, because he's got great parents and good grandparents and
good family base.
Yeah, and hey, our football team is 9-1, going to the playoffs, and
I don't necessarily want to tick people in Fife off, but can I say, wow, that was a pretty good game.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you've heard anything about football in Alabama, you know,
we're pretty serious about football. Right?
Fife is our neighbor up here, and 3 years ago, we beat them to stop a 51-game win streak, which is the longest in the nation of any school at the time. And then we beat them again this year, and their coach just got his 300th victory at Fife in 27 years. So you can figure out that's more than 10 a year for 27 years. And then this was his second place coach. He's got 345 or so for career, which is third on the list all time in Alabama. But, you know, we've got a great coach, great coaching staff. I mean, just great people that are doing that and being successful.
They teach life.
Yeah.
I mean, not only how to play football, baseball, but whatever, basketball, but later in life. It reminds me of Coach Paul Bear Bryant. All those guys I spoke with, they all said the same thing. They said, he taught us life skills. They're all successful in life with businesses or whatever. And they also said this about Mrs. Bryant. She was the one you'd go to if you were in trouble with Mr. Bryant. She was just a neat lady, too.
But I know back in the summer, Coach Davis, it probably has to be volunteers. But anyway, a bunch of the football players went out to some of the elderly people, and cleaned up their yard and, did stuff like that. And but he, like you say, he teaches them the life lessons that they need to do. And there's one of his football players got caught on camera doing a little mischief in the park not long ago, and we didn't have to deal with it as a town. he took care of that.
Took care of that.
And went right along.
But he never did it again.
No. And if you look at our Geraldine school and look at the football stuff, and you're gonna see, like last week, you're gonna look on there and see that we won 63-6, and think, well, what kind of lessons is that, teaching people that? Well, it was 49-0 in the first half, and you can't just kneel down on the ball the whole half. But the first play we had the ball, ran for a touchdown. The next play we ran for a touchdown, and and we've got one 8th grader starting that had 3 interceptions in one game. Ran one of them back 102 yards for a touchdown. But second half, last game, everybody that was dressed out, I think, got to play, and there's been a couple of big scores like that, and but been some close ones too. But looking forward to getting started in the playoffs this week, and but we've got great athletic programs and great school. Our elementary school just got an award for a high percentage of 3rd graders reading on 3rd grade level. We were one of 12 schools in the state.
In the state.
Yeah, to get that.
So that's another thing
distinction.
you're always looking for too. Schools for your kids. You want
Yep.
good ones, absolutely. But there's more to say though about coaches and people like Katina who teach. They do the hard love thing.
Yeah.
And it pays off.
Yeah.
Teaching those life lessons, absolutely. How can folks get in contact with you? We're at the end of the show. Can you believe an hour just flew by?
Well, I'll start out, I guess, with the obvious. Email mayor@townofgeraldineal.com. Phone number to the office 256-659-2122. I've got a cell phone 256-996-3388.
We keep them on speed dial. Every time we live in an old house, it's like the money pit. So there's always something we need. And Phil will say, "I'm just going to call the mayor and see if he knows somebody." And you always give him a list of good people.
Had somebody text me yesterday, where can I get some firewood? So
I think I've started something.
Of course, it's 80 degrees today.
Yeah, you're not thinking about
December,
firewood right
November.
now. But now tomorrow it could be a freeze.
Right.
That's the thing about Alabama. You can have all 4 seasons in one day,
Yeah.
or in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
Mayor, thank you so much for being on the
Hey,
show. It's always a pleasure.
It's always great, and I appreciate you letting me be on
And tell Catherine I
good
said,
news.
by the way, Catherine is definitely the woman behind the man.
Definitely has been. We
How many years has it been now?
well, we met just a little over 50 years ago. Been married just a little over 49. Didn't take
Boy,
us
you
long to
must have
figure
done a
out.
sales job on her.
Hey, we got married 9 months today.
I can see him right
when we
now
met.
begging her to marry him. You got a good wife, and she's got a good husband
Well,
too.
she's got a little story about all that. I won't get into.
I know. I'm going to get her on the show one day to tell that
No,
whole story.
she's not available for that.
I bet she
But
would
she does
be.
ask me why I married her, and I told her I just couldn't help it. You know?
Yeah. It was just in the cards.
Yeah.
It just had to be. So great town, great mayor, great mayor's wife as well. Thank you so much for watching. We definitely appreciate it. You can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and Abundant Television found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Please don't forget the podcast. You're going to love it. TheNewscasters.com. A lot of great folks there.
Yeah, you
Thank
learn
you.
a lot by watching this.
You sure
Besides
will.
this.
You'll learn what not to do if you want to be a talk show host. What not to do. Thank you again so much for watching.